To introduce our esteemed resource speaker, may I call on our colleague, Engineer Ray Sablan, our treasurer, to give the introduction to the resource speaker. Sir?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Prof. Good morning, co-BODs. I would like to ask whether if you are able to hear me loud and clear.
It's loud and clear, sir.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Thank you. It is an honor and privilege for me to introduce our technical speaker for today. I would like to start first with he is a graduate of Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering at Technological Institute of the Philippines back in 2001. Since then, he has a cumulative experience of 18 years in a highly concentrations of occupational health and safety and environment, out of which 6 years in water and sewerage utility company in the Philippines and 12 years of UAE experience in various medium to high-rise buildings, residential buildings, infrastructures, utilities projects, and museum. He has also a 12 years of mixed technological or technical skilled work experience. He is a strong believer of continuous learning as the minimum requirement for success in any field. And having said that, he is most recently graduate of Master of Science in Constructions of Management at Polytechnic University of the Philippines back in 2019, and a cumulative very close to 2,000 hours of continuous professional development. And excuse me, and out of which he is also a certified with distinction in NIBOSH IGC 1, 2, and 3 back in 2011, a BSE Level 2 Risk Assessment, a OSH Registered Generalist A at OSHAD Abu Dhabi. He is also a certified professional engineering manager or management rather back in 2016, a certified lead grid associates back in 2017, and also a registered civil engineer back in 2001, and an OHS practitioner back in our country, Philippines, back in 2003. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so proud to welcome to you our technical speaker for today, Engineer Gilbert R. Reyes. A round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you, Master Reynante Sablan, Engineer Sir. Pare.
Oh, thank you.
Maraming salamat po sa pag-imbita sa akin, Prof. Ryan Ben Sabilala. At least magkaroon tayo ng opportunity na mag-share ng ating knowledge. Magandang umaga po sa BOD ng PSME sa pangunguna po ni Sir Richard. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat at sa lahat po ng member. Magandang umaga po kay Sir Jun Landicho. Sa inyo po lahat, magandang umaga po. So, ang i-discuss ko po ngayon ay about sa minimum acceptable standards. I-share ko na po yung screen ko. Nakikita na po natin. Hello po.
Malinaw, sir.
Yes, sir. Crystal clear.
Crystal clear, sir. Crystal clear.
Hindi lang po minimize ko itong natatakpan yung po. Ito po yung prepare ni Sir Ryan. Magandang design.
Si Sir Jun yan, sir, na gumawa.
Ang i-discuss ko po ay regarding sa ito pong topics, medyo marami po ito. Actually, more than 250 plus. Kasi po ito is minimum acceptable standard. So ayoko pong magputol kahit konti. Kaya inilagay ko po lahat dito. Kasi para pong law, batas din po kasi ito parang batas din. Kaya lang ito is developed internally by the multinational and largest company in the UAE. And I saw that three largest company in the UAE that also they are following on this minimum acceptable standards. So when Prof Ryan asked me what is the best topic, So I immediately came to know that the topics that are more appropriate for ME or PSME is this minimum acceptable standards, because mostly the topics here is ME. So let's begin. Good morning again, and let's begin. I will minimize. So the content of our modules is COVID-19 prevention as requested by Prof. Ryans to include this in our topics. So this is our first topic: the hole protection lift shafts, hole protection riser and penetrations, edge protections guardrails, housekeeping, temporary electricity supply, portable electric power tools, compressed gas cylinders and accessories, ladder and step ladders, firefighting equipment, suspended access cradles and platforms, abrasive wheels, power tools, hotworks, mobile scaffold towers, excavations, control of substance hazardous to health, lifting accessories, concrete buckets, mobile elevated work platforms, traffic controls, so lifting operations, cranes, electrical earthing and groundings, underground and overhead services. Maybe the concrete bucket is not related to ME, but it is important that we should know what is standards for this, so that when we are on the site, we can recognize if some person or some group operating around us is following the standards. And remember that safety is everybody's concern. So even you are not really engaged on one specific activity, at least you can tell them that what they are doing is unsafe. So first is COVID-19 prevention and awareness. This is our topic. So let's discuss what is COVID-19. I know everyone, they know already what is COVID-19, but as additional knowledge, I want to refresh our minds what is COVID-19. COVID-19, an acronym for coronavirus disease 2019, a mild to severe respiratory illness that is caused by coronavirus. It is transmitted chiefly by contact with infectious materials such as respiratory droplets on air, and is characterized especially by fever, cough, and shortness of breath, and may progress to pneumonia and respiratory failure. So infectious disease, a disease transferable to others by human being or by animals, insects, foodstuffs, places, or other things and substances contaminated by microbes and toxins of the infectious disease. So this coronavirus, there is no study that this we can get from animals, but for the sake of the definition, infectious disease is this. This is the definition. It also can be transferable from all those things that I have mentioned here. Also known as communicable disease and contagious disease. So false that the new coronavirus affect older people. The truth is, people of all ages can be infected by the new coronavirus or nCoV 2019. Older people and people with pre-existing medical conditions such as asthma, diabetes, heart disease appear to be more vulnerable. Pandemic. What is pandemic? A worldwide spread of new disease. An influenza pandemic occurs when a new influenza virus emerges and is spread around the world, and most people do not have immunity. So currently, yesterday we have 110.8 million coronavirus cases, and so far 2.4 million deaths, 85.7 million recovered, and currently the total infected patients is 22.6 million, and in mild condition 22.5 millions, and serious and critical is around 95,000. So it is very important that we have to know this, because coronavirus is true. It's not a joke. Okay, those people, maybe some of us, we got already coronavirus, but we don't know because our immune system is very strong. So always careful. Prevention. What is prevention? The outright avoidance of adverse impact of hazards and related disasters. I got some from WHO. So, false, regularly rinsing your nose with saline help prevent infections with the coronavirus. This is false. The truth is there is no evidence that regularly rinsing the nose with saline has protected people from infections with the coronavirus. Okay, self-quarantine. To refrain from any contact with other individuals for a period of time, such as 2 weeks, during the outbreak of contagious disease, usually by remaining in one's home and limiting contact with family members. So there is an example here. Bob was exposed to coronavirus 19 on day 0, but on the day 5, Bob got tested for coronavirus 19 and the results came back negative. So that means he was exposed from 0 to 5, and he got the negative results on the test. On the day 8, thinking he did not have a COVID-19, Bob went to work and family gathering. He was contagious days 8 and 9, 48 hours before the symptoms, and now exposed 22 people. And on the 10th day, Bob became symptomatic and tested positive. So imagine, 0 to 10 days, saka pa lang nakita na may symptoms siya. So, kaya ang ginagawa ng mga government na procedures, kung na-expose ka, i-isolate mo yung sarili mo or mag-ano ka umiwas ka sa mga gathering, makipag-meet sa mga tao para hindi mo kasi alam kasi within 0 to 10 days saka pa lang itong isang example na to, 0 to 10 days saka pa lang siya lumabas yung symptoms and he got the positive test. Incubation. The incubation period of COVID-19 disease is between 2 to 14 days. Okay? This means that if a person remains well 14 days after contact with someone with confirmed coronavirus, they have not been infected. So after 14 days and you did not get any symptoms, that means you are not infected. False, the incubation period is up to 5 days. And the truth is, the incubation period means the time between catching the virus and beginning to have symptoms of disease. Most estimates of the incubation period for COVID-19 range from 1 to 14 days. Transmission. Transmission of the virus, person to person who are close contact with one another within about 2 meters. And respiratory droplets, cough or sneezing or speak. So how it will enter to our body is by inhaling it or by our hand. Okay. So by hand, we can touch our nose, our mouth, our eyes. So it will go to our point of entry. So the point of entry is mouth and nose. So if you are protecting your mouth and nose, then you will not get the coronavirus. But sometimes if we are too relaxed because we don't know how that the person in front of us have coronavirus, and we can get this coronavirus. So I let us continue and let us check what are more in this presentation. COVID-19, the false COVID-19 is an airborne disease. That is false. The truth is COVID-19 is not airborne and is mainly transmitted through droplets generated when an infected person coughs, sneezes, or speaks. So false mosquito bites get one infected with COVID-19. The truth is, COVID-19 doesn't spread from mosquito bite, but through droplets spread when an infected person sneezes or speaks. Truth, false, I can catch COVID-19 from my pet. The truth is, while there has been one instance of a dog being infected in Hong Kong, to date, there is no evidence that a dog, cat, or any pet can transmit COVID-19. So the common symptoms of COVID-19, fever of around 99%. So that means almost 100% you have a fever. Okay, so fatigue, you will feel you don't have any energy. 70% of your energy is lost. So fatigue. A dry cough of 59, so 59%. So sometimes you are feeling coughing and dry cough. You don't have any phlegm inside. Loss of appetite. Wala kang ganong kumain. So 40%. So you can still eat, but 40% of your appetite is lost. Body aches, masakit ang buong katawan mo. Para kang natrangkaso. So 35%. So ramdam mo na parang masakit ang pagod na pagod ka. Na masakit ang katawan mo. Shortness of breath. So para kang hinihingal. Unless na may talagang asthma ka. So pero kung wala kang asthma, na normally hindi ka naman hinihingal, parang hinihingal ka. Tapos ka sa paghinga. So you have the mucus or phlegm of 27%. So it's not totally dry. You still have 27% phlegm. So siguro maisip natin na, meron naman akong phlegm eh. So ibig sabihin wala akong coronavirus. Hindi rin ganun kasi nga meron din siyang 27% na meron kang phlegm or mucus. Symptoms usually begin 2 to 14 days after you come contact with the coronavirus. Other symptoms: sore throat, headache, chills, sometimes with shaking. So ginaw ka, gusto mo balot na balot ka ng kumot para mawala yung ginaw mo. So may headache ka, may sore throat ka, loss of smells. So even you spray your perfume, you did not smell it. Excuse me. Congestion or runny nose. So meron ka rin ganyan. Nausea or vomiting and diarrhea. So why you have diarrhea? It's going to your stomach, the coronavirus. That's why it will multiply there and you get diarrhea. And there is emergency symptoms as well here. I prepared trouble of breathing. So if you get trouble of breathing, those symptoms that I mentioned earlier, and then after that you have some trouble of breathing, that is emergency symptoms. So constant pain or pressure in your chest. Okay, loose lips or face, sudden confusion. If you feel or if you found someone with these emergency symptoms, you need to call the emergency services right away if you have one or more of these COVID-19 symptoms or other persons, and follow their advice. Okay. So diagnosis for the COVID-19, so the swab test. Everybody know what is swab test or PCR test, and DPI test or blood laser rapid test. So I think is there anybody here got one of these tests? I got all of these tests, so I have experience how this test. Treatment. This is only the treatment that available, but it's not 100% guarantee. Even you get the vaccination, you will still get the COVID-19. So vaccination is available now is Pfizer, Moderna, from Russia, and Sinopharm from China, and AstraZeneca. Physicians to ask him or her what is the suitable vaccine for you if you want to get the vaccine. And of course, we have our immune system. It can fight all types of sickness. So we need to have a good nutrition to boost our immune system. Okay, so like the cancer, there is also treatment, but it's not 100% that you will heal from cancer. Like radiation, it's only a treatment, but it's not a guarantee that you will get you will rid out the cancer cells on your body. It's only by chance. Of course, your immune system as well. So these together will fight. Then there is a chance that someone will survive. So antibiotics is a false effective in preventing treating the new coronavirus. The truth is no antibiotics do not work against viruses, only bacteria. The new coronavirus, COVID-19 nCoV, is a virus, and therefore antibiotics should not be used. However, if you are hospitalized for COVID-19, you may receive antibiotics since bacterial co-infection is possible. So you will receive also antibiotics, but for bacterial only, for bacterial, not for COVID-19. False, an old Chinese doctor had found a cure to coronavirus, one bowl of garlic. It's not true. So the truth is there is no scientific evidence to study this garlic. The false, a viral post on social media claims that a bitter gourd or ampalaya juice can treat coronavirus. That is false. Truth is there is no such treatment. Coronavirus gets automatically destroyed in high temperature. That is false. The truth is, given its novelty, it hasn't been proven yet if it gets destroyed in high temperature or not. Preventive measures must be followed until any further information is confirmed. So false, the virus survives a few hours. The truth is, studies suggest that coronaviruses may persist on surfaces for a few hours or up to several days. This may vary under different conditions, such type of surface, temperature, or humidity of the environment. So it is always better make sure that we are doing hand washing, because we don't know exactly when it will leave from one surface to our body. Preventions. So construction company or any organizations, they should develop emergency management plan for coronavirus and risk assessment. So risk assessment, you will discuss here in the risk assessment what are the hazards that you will get, how you will get the coronavirus, or how your team will get the coronavirus in the risk assessment. And then the control measures you need to develop based on that risk. So if I get another chance to present here in the PSME, maybe I will make a separate risk assessment tutorial. Follow government procedures. So always check, because the government always updating their procedures about the coronavirus. Information and communications. It's very important that we communicate like what we are doing now. We are refreshing our minds about the information, and we are communicating it. So in our workers, we need to make sure that they have received proper informations and communication to them. So that's why it's very normal that at least once a week they have the toolbox talks. The problem now is the social distancing. So government did not allow the social gathering. So in every site you you need to develop the system how you can communicate the information to your workers without violating the social distancing rules. Okay, personal hygiene. So we need to educate our workers and even our member of the family, our relatives, the maintaining the social personal hygiene. So hand washing, how we can wash, when and where we will wash our hands. Okay, it is always better every 30 minutes wash our hand. For me, disinfection of common areas. So we need to make disinfection of common areas, like for example the door handles, that in your office, in your workplace, in your room, in your home. What are those common areas that usually your colleagues or your neighbor touches? Like for example, the door handle, the handle of the refrigerator, the microwave, so the faucets, the toilet sink, everything that common areas. So it's recommended to disinfect all those common areas and treat everyone as infected. So if you want to prevent, so don't trust to anyone. Treat everyone around you as infected, because as I said before, it takes 0 to 10 days before someone got positive on the test. On the 5th day, he did not get the positive, he got negative test, and he doesn't have symptoms. So what he did, he go for work, he dealt with the gathering, everything. So he got exposed 22 people that because he is infected, but the problem, he doesn't have symptoms that time. And then on the 10 days, only he got the symptoms and test positive. So use the personal protective equipment. So we have available personal protective equipment. Whatever is this mask, I know that before when the COVID-19 started, the price of the mask is very high, around $251. So it's very costly for, like me, it's very costly for me to purchase the mask and distribute to around 3,500 workers. Imagine every day they need to have a mask to make sure that they will not get the spread any virus to their colleagues. Okay, so use of shields also, the hand gloves as well. So here are some of our practice that I want to hide this. Here are some of our practice in the labor bus. Okay, so we follow the government rules that we reduce the capacity of the bus. So we make alternate labor alternate on their seat. Okay, and outside meeting, and with a very less number of people, and on their mess hall, previously these tables capacity around 10 persons, and we reduce it more than 60%. Okay, and we also do the staggered duty. So previously we have one session on one shift only, and then we make 3 shifts, like early shifts, morning shifts, and evening shifts. So this is to reduce the number of workers on the sites. And also we develop some isolation for to control the people outside during the food distribution, and also the food we distribute by pack lunch. So we transferred our meeting room outside. So we developed the meeting room outside, and also we communicated to all the supervisors, the engineers at site, regarding the prevention of the guys. Very important your participation in controlling the labors. Imagine your labors is not so how to prevent this, and sometimes they are ignoring it because they think they did not see. Only they can see but they can see some people. You know, if if you compare the coronavirus to the infected coronavirus to the one accident, maybe they have fear about the accident. If they saw a finger cut with blood, so at least this one is visible to them, but the coronavirus they cannot see. So this is very important that participation and control of the supervisors, foreman is engaged in the labor. So we provided thermal scanning. So every morning or every shifts before the entry in the site, they are passing on this thermal scanning, like a video thermal scanning. So we also provided isolation rooms. Those persons that we got high elevated temperature, we immediately isolated them on the isolation room, so we can observe him regarding his condition, and then we call the emergency contact number for the government regarding this patient, if we got the patient. So disinfection and cleaning of their mess hall regularly. If they have in the rest area, so they can take rest, but with a distance. Disinfection of their buses regularly, so we need to consider this. Disinfection of the offices and the site projects. Educating them to dispose only their use surgical masks on the proper skips with a proper signage, because once someone touched their contaminated PPE, they will get also coronavirus. So removing the finger scanning for time in and time out, and implementing the facial recognition time in and time out for the laborers and for the staffs. Provision of liquid disinfectant on common areas on the entrance, and provision of sufficient hand soap for the laborers washing area, cleaning and disinfection of their mess hall and their washroom. Signages as one of our campaign, so that everybody reminded. This is a subliminal indoctrination that every day that workers saw the signage, they will put in their minds that this is the proper procedures in preventing the coronavirus. So, we are placing on the notice boards in the sites, and also on the common access for the laborers. We must keep on protecting each others. So stay alert, control the virus, save lives by washing hands and wearing the face mask and social distancing. So three things only. If we strictly follow on these three things, I think we can fight together with the coronavirus. Guys, I prepared some. This is coming from the YouTube from University of Sydney. So I will play this one. How the please watch this. Watch this one. As you can see, our respiratory droplets on the air. if you don't have mask, or 1 layer of cloth and 2 layers of cloth on the left down. And if you are wearing surgical mask, I'm not promoting the surgical mask. You can also use the N95 or any other types of mask. But this is some study that they have done. When the people are sneezing, no mask, cloth mask layer 2, and with the surgical mask. This is how the behavior of our respiratory droplets on the air. So even we are wearing surgical mask, it's not 100% we can contain all the respiratory droplets. Another video for the how the coronavirus will spread through our hand. So, tinuturuan lang tayo dito paano maghugas ng kamay. There is always saying, prevention is always better than cure. Guys, if you have questions for the first topic, so please drop your questions there. Now, I want to start immediately for the minimum acceptable standards. Okay, by the way, what is minimum acceptable standards? Minimum acceptable standards, let's say I have 3 lines here. The red color is non-compliance, and the blue color lines is legal requirements, and the green color line is best practice. So our minimum acceptable standards is somewhere between the legal requirements, above the legal requirements, up to best practice. Okay, that is our minimum acceptable standard. When we are complying with the minimum acceptable standards, we are sure that we are complying with the legal requirements. Either the minimum acceptable standard also can be the best practice. So if you are a main contractor, make sure that you are complying with the minimum acceptable standards. But mostly the consultants, consultant and client, they want the best practice. When we are aiming something, we need the best. And then even we are a little bit, if we did not hit the best, at least we are still complying with the legal requirement. But for the sake of safety, because we are protecting the lives of our people, so there's no limit. So if you want the best practice, that is better. But on this tutorial, we will just discuss the minimum acceptable standards based on the empirical and local and international legislations. So our first topic on minimum acceptable standards is lift shop. I know mechanical engineers, they know the lift shop. Everybody's familiar in the lift shop. I know that. Okay. So minimum requirements. More one rules legal or contractual requirements shall always take precedence. So when we are implementing the requirements for the lift shaft, we need to always review the legal and contractual requirements. So we have the contracts, we have local, or we apply our minimum acceptable standards if we are complying on it. Okay, higher standards and or proprietary solutions shall be adopted wherever practicable. Okay, so when practicable, we can make more higher than our minimum acceptable standards. But it doesn't say that you need to order the golden handrail from the US to make sure that you have good handrails. It doesn't say that. So that's why it mentioned here wherever practicable. So this is I make some sketch for the lift shaft on the building during constructions. So this is some technique that how we can close the lift shafts, and if we open it, we need to make sure that we also close it after use. No? Risk associated with the lift shaft opening must be managed by carrying out a suitable risk assessment and implementing the necessary control measures. So it's a self-explanatory. So lift shaft opening must be securely closed from floor level to ensure that no person or materials can fall into it. The enclosure shall be tamper-proof and will be installed upon striking of formworks, completion of the shaft walls at each floor level. So when we completed the shaft and we are striking the formworks, or even there is a formworks, we need to provide temporary protection. So this is to make sure that those persons, workers around near on the lift shaft are protected. And there must be a permit system for removal. So when you are removing the cover protections, there should have a permit system. And all works to be undertaken inside the shaft must be controlled under the permit system only. So you can see some animation that I made here. One person will falling down from the shaft because of opening. Lighting must be installed of every opening level. The lift shaft must have adequate signage and identifying and the lift shaft area and inherent danger. So we need to put the signage that this is the lift shaft and what are the dangers on this lift shaft. Where necessary, protection system must be installed from fully boarded working platforms prior to installation of the lift car. So lift car, MEP, they know it. What is lift car? Okay, so before we started to install the lift car, make sure that there is a fully boarded platform on that shaft, on that particular level. And one trade must not work above another in a shaft, and there must be a minimum of 2 persons in a work group. So always body system, and there is not allowed to work on the same elevation. Example on this is animation. There are someone's working on the top and someone also working or passing on below. This is not acceptable. Only one group at a time. Okay, that's why it's very important that when you are working on the lift shaft, you need to close all the point of entry. And if someone want to work together with another group, they should make a risk assessment and make sure that the risks are fully controlled and with the full competent supervision. Protective measures for all openings shall only be removed when work is actually taking place in and around the opening, and effective safety measures are employed to prevent falls of those working on them. So when you are removing the protective measures from the opening, So you need to provide additional control, how you will prevent the persons to fall on inside of the lift shaft. Okay, like for example, as last resort, no, we will provide the fall like the safety harness and lanyards, okay, or safety netting underneath, or a fully boarded platform inside of the shaft. That is additional control. That means you remove the protection on the opening of the shaft, and you provide additional controls. So there is always condition. I want to work here. I want to work here. Then you are angry with the safety because they are not allowing you. Okay. So you want to work. Okay. You remove your protection. So how you will make sure that you will be safe in working inside of the shaft? So you need to provide additional protection. That's why we have risk assessment. On that risk assessment, before we start the job, we plan how to do this job safely. So we need to make sure that we are following that control measure written on the risk assessment. And most required persons to be familiarized on the risk assessment and control measures is the engineers and the supervisors and the foreman. They should well and very familiar on how to implement the risk assessment. Okay, so guys, if you are working in something, it is very important at least you read the method statement and the risk assessment. During the installation of the lift equipment, the temporary protection is to remain in place until the permanent doors are installed and secured. Like for example, you are doing the job inside of the shop. Okay, you are installing the lifting equipment, and then you are leaving at the end of the shift. So you are not returning what is the protection on that place, or when you are going to the lunch break or breaks, you are not returning. You need to make sure that when you leave that place, you need to make sure that it is protected, because there are lots of people in the construction that is not the same of us. They don't know how to analyze it. Maybe they will go inside and they will sleep inside during the break time. They will hide there, and then that time they will get accident. There must have at least there is a mandatory signage. Mandatory signage should have 3 different languages: the local language of your host country, the English language, and the common language of the workers. Like for example, Hindi. Like for example, in the Philippines, Tagalog. If you are in the north, you need to identify what is the common language there and make sure that is there. And in addition, you need to put some pictures or sketch, so that when they saw it, even they don't know how to read, they can understand the pictures. That is a minimum requirements about the signage and edge protection. So risers and penetrations. What are those risers and penetrations? MEP very familiar on these risers and penetrations. This opening where your MEP, your pipings is going up through and through on the floor levels of the buildings. So during construction, you need to make sure, and during the installation of MEP, you need to make sure that those risers and penetrations is protected. Okay, so like for example here in the pictures, they installed steel mesh. This is made of scraps and welded together. So they install it together with the concrete, and they install the concrete blocks on the perimeter of this opening. And also on the right side, you can see also how the floor opening protected. So when you have this, even some workers, they are passing inside. Even without you, they will go inside. At least they cannot fall on the opening. And even the small opening here, you need to provide the protection, because some falling objects may fall on this small opening and hit some persons below. The cover must be substantial, suitable, and sufficient. Should be able to bear the weight of 2 well-grown men. Okay, so at least your cover is designed to sustain the weight of 2 well-grown men, and must be secured at all times. Cover or the protection system must be under the permit system. That's why when you are working on the construction, everything there is permit. Everything there is permit, because this is in order to make sure that we will not forget something. Because when you remove something, at least you provide another controls. Okay, that is very important. All holes penetration must be regularly checked. Temporary edge protections. So you should provide temporary edge protections for penetration as well, not only for the lift shafts. One trade must not work above another in a riser. So in the floor opening, so you need to make sure when you are working on the top, you need to make sure on the below level of your work area is isolated. If you can provide watchman to restrict entry or passing by on that location, it is better. But sometimes human control there is limitation. Example, if your watchman is going to the toilet, then your human control is not there. So it's always better to have a barricades, hard barricades, and signages, plus the watchman as minimum acceptable standard. So guys, I have completed the lift shaft penetrations and risers. Now we will go to the edge protections. So are you still there? Actually, I did not see your video here.
We are good, sir. Very good.
All right, Sir Richard. So I will minimize again. So this is some example of good practice on the edge protections. So opening and the edge of the buildings, on the opening and the floors. Some example of minimum acceptable standards. So on the edge of the buildings. Okay. Now let us discuss what is the specifications of the edge protections. Edge protection coupler. So you can see here that we call it coupler, 90 degrees angle coupler. And this in the middle photographs is joint coupler, and this is a swivel clamp coupler. So this coupler, you can also, there are so many types of couplers, but this is the one pictures that I showed here. And the top rails, when you are installing the top rail, it should be 0.91 meters to 1.15 meters. Okay. And when you are installing the mid rail is here, the mid, it should be 0.45 meter to 0.60 meters. This is this dimension is developed based on the human height. Okay, human height. Two boards. Minimum height is 0.15 meters or 150 millimeters. And the edge protection should be installed 0.5 meter setback from the leading edge of the building. And you know, the vertical member of this edge protection, we call it the post or edge protection post. So the maximum distance for every post is 2.44 meter or 8 feet. So no more than that. If you want to make it 2 or 1.5, it's more rigid and more better. But more than, like for example, 3 meters, it should maximum of 2.44 meters. 6.35 millimeter inch maximum gap between the floor and the two boards. No gaps between two boards. Okay, this is the two boards and this is the floor. So the maximum, because sometimes we cannot guarantee that the floor is full, leveled properly. So there is a gap, but there is also minimum for that gap because maybe material will falling down there. So two boards function is to control the fall of materials. Okay, this is minimum acceptable standards. If you want to provide some green or mesh net, it's more better, so that you increase the height by 3 layers or 4 layers of the pipes, horizontal pipes, and you provide the green mesh. That is more better, that we call best practice. So this, what I'm trying to discuss here only is the minimum acceptable standards. So guardrail system are capable of withstanding without failure a force of at least 200 pounds, 890 Newton or 91 kilogram force applied in downward or outward direction within the 2 inches, 5 centimeters of the top edge at any point along the top rails. So that your guardrail should be designed, or your edge protection should be designed to resist this force. This is as per OSHA standards. So you, like for example on this sketch, so any point on these railings, you need to make sure that 200 pounds can be resisted, 91 kilogram force. I think they base this into the weight of the people. So the weight of people 100 kilograms or 91 kilograms. It must be extended around any uncovered opening or leading edges. Must be substantial, suitable, and sufficient. So in these terms, should be complied all the times. Substantial, suitable, and sufficient. That means very safe. There is no chance that your edge protection will collapse by itself or by a certain minimum force. Must not be made of surplus steel or timber that is not fit for purpose. Must be secured and fixed in position. It's not shaking. It's not, sometimes they just put it there without fixing it properly. So you can see there is edge protection, but it's not really edge protection. It's a falling object if you did not secure it. Must be a continuous construction. Use coupler to connect the pipes and not a tie wire. Okay, this is commonly happening when you are doing the job on the edge. Sometimes the engineers, the supervisors not prepared for the job, so they have the materials only for their job, but for the protection, for the like temporary works, this is belong to the temporary works, they don't have material. So what they are doing, they're using the wire rope to secure the pipe. This is unacceptable. So make sure that you have the proper couplers to connect and secure the pipes or the edge protections. Must be free from the sharp edges. So if this is edge protection, make sure when you are accidentally hit the edge protection, you will not get injury from your edge protections. Okay, so you need to cover all the sharp edges. Must have a distinctive guiding colors. So like for example, red and white. Okay, so when you are it's very important. I would suggest to have these colors. Okay, it is very important when you are sighting your edge protection from far distance. You can see that if someone is removing it or not, because if you have the color, distinctive color, you can see that in one area of the edge someone is removing it. So it is very important that you have this, especially it is increase the visibility during the night and the dark time. Must have a permit system for removal. Unauthorized removal will be treated as safety violations. Must have mandatory signage. So minimum acceptable standards. You have edge protection, you have the signage. Okay, you have only edge protection, you don't have signage, you are not complying with the minimum acceptable standard. Okay, you will still get fines from the authority if something unacceptable event happen. Must risk assess stairways. For the staircase or stairways, you should have also appropriate edge protections. Okay, guys, we have completed the edge protections. Are you still there? Type likes on the view on the screen. Okay, let's discuss the housekeeping. Why we need to maintain the housekeeping outside? Okay, because housekeeping, engineers thinking this is not part of the activity, but I want to tell you guys that housekeeping is part of your activity. Whenever you are doing the job, you need to do housekeeping as well. And the housekeeping is not after the works, it's not after 1 week. It should be continuous when your work is progresses. What are the hazards in the housekeeping? If you are not doing the housekeeping, you have the slips, trips, and falls hazards. Someone will slip or trips from the scattered materials or waste, and they may fall on the floors or on the edge of the buildings. The fire hazards, of course, very, very clear that if you are not doing housekeeping, it will contribute to the fire hazards. No space for works. Yeah, you have very small, limited workstation, and all of your materials scattered everywhere. Okay, so you don't have space for work. And of course, bad impression to the stakeholders, like the clients, the consultants, or the our workers also. Okay, so we need to implement very good housekeeping when we are doing the job, because if you are completing your job and you have a very good housekeeping, they cannot tell you are not doing your job properly. Okay, bad impressions. Remember, if you destroy your company's image only for housekeeping, then how you will get another project in the future? Okay, and I experienced sometimes that one consultant came to my sites, okay, because we are submitting our bid for the new projects. So they are visiting personally the site to check how we are implementing our projects. So they are they get very impressed on my projects. Very clean, even under the scaffolding, they very clean. So that means they have a good impressions, and they can recommend my company for the next project. Materials wastage, like for example in the MEP, you have so many bolts now, different sizes of bolts. If you are not doing the housekeeping, your different sizes of bolts there, sometimes you have the cut bolts and you put there. Even the good materials, you also put it there. Your workers also put it there. So you are wasting materials. You know, one bolts, if you purchase in the Philippines, like for example the Hinti bolts, maybe around 300 pesos or to 500 pesos. Only one single bolts. So of course, we have a delay in productions, because if you need material, specific material, and you cannot find it because your workers is putting it into the waste or into the mixed waste of materials, so they cannot find it. They will not, or even they find it, at least they waste the time to find it. So if you are well organized, you know the 5S, if you are well organized, then they will get the good productions on time. Bad practice, some photographs is here. You can see here, they have the material, they completed the job, but they are not removing the materials. What the labor did, they are jumping over your waste. And this waste, remember, there are nails, there are tripping hazards, and you can see also there is electrical cablings that may overheat and burn your waste. This is unacceptable, bad practice. And on the right pictures, you can see there are so many waste accumulated on this location, and it will get fire. It will falling down on the edge of the buildings, and so many things will happen here. Even the workers will falling down because of this. Okay, so this is a bad practice, unacceptable in the construction. Some good practice, I will show you the pictures here. So when you are doing your construction while your work is on progress, you need to maintain your housekeeping all the time. Okay, not after 1 minute, not after 1 hour or 1 week. Now it's better, because accident, we don't know when it will happen. So all the time we need to maintain a good housekeeping practice in our project, in our workplace, even in our room. Okay guys, we have completed the housekeeping. Let's proceed to temporary electricity supply. Okay, so this is also MEP works. Just hang a minute, I just want to drink a little bit water. So examples of not acceptable installation for the temporary electrical supplies. Metal halide used as task lighting. Okay, actually this photograph is taken somewhere in 2010, and you can see the practice is during that time is not so acceptable. So they use the metal halide used as task lighting. Okay, and they place these lights on this metal, on the metal as well, which is a good conductor, is not acceptable. And wooden splitters, they place so many outlets on the boards. When the outlets overheats, it will burn the wood, and it will cause the fire on the sides. And on a single cable, they place so many outlets on it, it may overheat, and it will cause the fire, or unacceptable events on the site. Example of acceptable installations. So correct earthing of the DBs, correct cable glands. So correct cable glands, this will protect our cable from damage from the sharp edges, and additional control of your distribution boards, of provisions of padlock, so that you can prevent unauthorized. Guys, is very strict here, especially in the Middle East. You are not allowed to touch any electrical if you are not competent. When we said competent about electricity, you should be trained. You should have education about electricity, not only training. You should have education, or like for example master electrician, something like that, and you should have experience. Okay, but example, one workers, they want the power, and they did not find any electrician nearby, and they don't know also the number. So what they will do, they will open the distribution board, they will insert their cable by themselves. On opening of the distribution boards, they are prone to the accident. Okay, fluorescent lights. So we can use the fluorescent lightings with a diffuser. Okay, on the aisles of our project. Make sure all the cables are properly elevated and installed, and full discrimination of the circuits. So there's no twisting, so everything is well organized and tight. No sparkling, no loose connections. Okay, so that's why it's very important that those people who are installing the DB or the temporary electrical supply are competent and certified electrician. And as I said before, if you are providing everything and you don't have signage, so this is a minimum acceptable standard even in the law, that you should provide always signage in 3 different languages as minimum, with pictures or sketches. So temporary electrical installation must be designed. Just a minute, I just want to hide this and approved by an electrical engineer, installed by a competent electrician, and inspected by competent person once every 3 months. So this is design approved by an electrical engineer. So this is to avoid overloading. I know the MEP, they know what is approved by electrical, but why we need to have the design? Because cable, the outlets. So every time that we have new equipment that we need to connect on our electrical system, temporary electrical system, we need to coordinate with the engineer, electrical engineers, so that he can evaluate if the new load can be allowed to connect to the existing electrical system. So competent electrician, as I discussed, what is competent electricians, and inspected by competent person. So mostly the competent electrician and competent person is the same. Okay. Priority must be given to the use of battery tools. However, where this is not possible, 110 volts tools, and as last resort, 220 and 380 volts may be used. Okay, guys, always giving priority to the least voltage, like for example battery tools. If you don't have it, or you don't have machine available in the market, so you can consider the use of 110 volts. And if example you have a specialized machine, okay, so you cannot there is no available in the market 110 volts, then you can use 220 volts. But this 220 volts, we need to have a permit how to use it, because there is restriction on how to use 220 volts. Generators, all static generators must be regularly maintained, have a drip tray, spill kit, and firefighting equipment nearby. Okay, so this is the correct the requirements for the generators: drip trays, spill kit, and firefighting equipment. Especially if your project is you are aiming for the green building certifications, you should have it. All cables between generators and distribution board must have mechanical protection, if not in steel wire armored cable. So if your cable is not steel wired armor, even your cable is steel wired armor, it is always better to have a secondary protection, physical protections, so that something heavy metal or a heavy object drop on your cable, it will not damage accidentally. Each static generator must be fitted with a fully functional independent earth electrode. Okay. Distribution boards, sub-distribution boards. All distribution boards DB will be within a lock, steel IP54 rated, for water and dust proof, enclosure with mandatory warning signs. All opening holes and penetration into the DB must be close to IP54 rating. Sometimes even our lock is IP54 rating. They are providing plastic, but this only for adverse weather. But it should be removed immediately after the adverse weather, because the plastic will create a moist, and this moist inside of the DB will create the short circuits. All short circuits must be protected by correct size circuits breaker, and the DB must have padlock in addition to the locks already fitted on the DB doors. Okay, I already discussed it. All DB circuits will be properly discriminated, as discussed on the photographs previously. All 220 volts, 380 volt supply must be protected by residual current device or RCD with a trip current not more than 30 milliampere. Every RCD must be tested frequently by the competent persons. Okay, this is very good. In every connection here, you can see the residual current device. Something short circuit is happening. immediately the system will trip. Very good. Okay, to make sure that all of these are, of course, we need to consult the electrical regulation here in the UAE or in your host country. So you need to check what is the regulations regarding the distribution board or temporary electrical supply. All steel wired armor cable must have earthing band connected from glands earth bar within the DB. Okay, so even you have armored cables, it should be earthing band. Okay, cable and plexes. All cables shall be terminated using proprietary glands. Where necessary, I already discussed it. Separate earth conductors shall be installed. Okay, all extension leads. So means even your cables, you should have a earth conductor. Okay, all extension leads shall be formed using 3-core double insulated flex. Flexes must be kept off the floor and secured by non-conductive cable ties where required. All earths will be terminated properly to ensure safety of the system. If there is loose connection, is always making sparks, and if there is a sparks, it's creating a fire. Joints must be made using outdoor types plugs, sockets, so no twisted and tapered joints. Outdoor, they require the outdoor type plugs or sockets because during construction there are so many is happening in the site. There is water, there is temperature because the site is still exposed to weather, all types of weather. So we need to make sure that we are using the proper outdoor plugs or sockets and proprietary junction boxes. Extension leads with plug sockets shall have only one cable, no doubling up. As I discussed, one cable, one extension lead. All connection will be protected from mechanical strains by using proprietary glands, cords, grips, or niche. So we need to make sure that our connection is secured by this, not by cable, not by electrical tapes. Okay. Temporary lightings. All site fluorescent tubes must be protected from breakage by cage. So we need to provide the cage if we are using the fluorescent tubes. Okay. Portable halogen type lights are not permitted and are a fire hazards. Okay. So this is fire hazards. Halogen is not permitted. Metal halide lights shall not be used as portable handheld task lighting. Okay. So task lighting is different and metal halide lights is different. Metal halide lights should be installed only permanently on fixed locations to give lightings to our work area or aisles. But task lighting that we can move everywhere, it should be provided. Metal halide lights shall not be installed close to combustible materials because these emitting lights as well. Now they are providing LED lights as well. LED lights, but I have one incident in even LED lights. You know what workers did? They removed the lights from the fixed location and they use it as task lighting. And then the problem, the workers after completing their task and the shifts, they place it on the platform. Okay. That time they shut down the DB. The issue is when the new shifts arrive, they open the system, and then the light is on. And because due to the heat emitted by the LED lights, the planks or the platforms burn. Okay, only unfortunately the planks is made of it's treated fire rated, but it's still smokes you can detect from far distance. But if this is not treated fire rated, then a big disaster of fire. So always make sure that all lights are away from combustible materials. Okay guys, we have completed our temporary electric supply. Now we will go for portable electric power tools. So this also mostly those team are using it is the MEP team. Minimum requirements: more one rules legal or contractual requirements shall always take precedence. Higher standards shall be adopted wherever practicable. Priority must be given to the use of battery tools. However, where this is not possible, 110 volts tools, and as last resort, 220 to 380 volts tools may be used. As again, I will tell, if you are using 220, you should have a permit system. And it's only special case. Like for example, you have a grinder. We have a grinder 110 volts. And because the foreman or the engineer is complaining that it's not so too powerful, so they are using the grinder 220 volts. This is not permitted. Okay, because there is available 110 volts in the market. But if you have a special tools 220 volts, then you can use the 220. But it is always under the permit system. Admin control: the storekeeper shall maintain a register of portable power tools and records of issue. So always the storekeeper should have and maintain that register. Okay. Tools must be physically inspected by storekeepers. Physically, storekeepers, we cannot say that he is a competent, but at least he can see if the tools that he is issuing is damaged or not, or fit for use. So before issue and inspected before use by the operator. So the operator as well is very important that they have trained on how to identify damaged power tools and when he will refuse to use the damaged power tools and where to bring the damaged power tools. So the operator or the labor or the workers that should have training on the proper safe power tools operation and inspection as well. Although he is not too competent for the inspection, at least he know that this power tool is unsafe to use. All portable tools and plant must be formally inspected, recorded at 3 months intervals by competent persons. This is the minimum requirements, 3 months intervals, but we are doing it weekly. So it is better. The more is the better. It's always make it more than minimum required. So to make it safe. Remember that we are protecting the life, and the life is irreversible and no price compared to the life. If there is any doubt regarding the safety of a tool, it must be immediately removed from service and tagged unsafe. Okay, so when you spotted some unsafe tools, immediately remove from service and put the tag that is unsafe, because maybe another ship will arrive and they will misuse again these unsafe power tools. All tools must be properly and securely stored when not in use. Correct. Plug and flex. All tools must have an industrial plug fitted and be the correct color for voltage. Okay, so electrical engineers, they know the correct color for the voltage. Okay, so like for example, in the site, yellow flag or yellow flex, that is 110 volts. So easily you can see that he is using the 110 volts in the site. So yellow color, and then if you can see also the power tools yellow color socket as well. So you can see that he is using the power tools 110 volts and in connecting into the 110 volt supply. But sometimes workers, they are making some remedy. They are removing the lock on the industrial types plug to so that they can insert their 110 volts power tools to the 220 volts supply. This is unsafe acts and not acceptable. The plug and cable shall be in good condition with cable securely terminated. Only one flex for each plug socket, no doubling up. As I discussed before, only one plug, one socket. Cables and flexes must be kept off the ground and out of way during use. Twisting and taping wires to extend or repairs a flex is strictly forbidden. Here in the UAE, it's not allowed twisting or any connections. So it should be properly terminated. Damaged flex cables should be replaced immediately. So how we can see the damaged flex, when you bend the cable, you can see so many cracks that is already damaged. You don't need to see that the cable is the copper inside of the cable is exposed. Even the insulation, external insulation is already damaged, then you need to replace this cable or flex immediately. The tools must be correct tools for the voltage of supplies. As I told, sometimes the workers that are using the 220 connected to the 110 or 110 to connect to 420 is not suitable. Rating plate must be present on the tools. It must be inspected by the user before use. Guards must be in place and adjusted. All safety control devices in full working order. Correct blades, handles, etc. must be used. Okay, machine guard. As I discussed with Sir Richard before the start of the training, machine guard. Okay, unless double insulated, all earth wires must be connected. Okay, must be free from any damage and no makeshift repairs carried out. Not allow anyone to make repairs unless you are a competent or dedicated technician to do the job or such repair. Tools must only be used for the purpose designed. Okay, so sometimes we are misuse the tools. Like for example, grinder, we are using for cutting. So there are the grinder, there is a blade for cutting, there is a blade for grinding. So we cannot use the grinder blade for cutting of something. So we need to make it our tools appropriate for the task. Okay, this is to avoid the accident. We will discuss more about the blades later. Cable must be correctly fitted into plug or socket. No inner cable showing. Okay, so no inner cable showing, no inner copper showing outside, because when it shows outside, that means our workers are in unsafe condition. Never carry the tools via the flexible cable. Okay, you are not the one carrying it as engineer or as supervisor, but our workers carrying it. When you spotted your workers carrying the power tools on the cable rather than its handle, then it is unsafe, because doing it regularly, it will damage the connection of the cable inside of the power tools. The users, appropriate personal protective equipment must be worn by the operator and anyone in the vicinity. Loose garments, etc., hair, etc. must be secured. Okay. So that's why when we are doing using personal protective equipment, we did not allow any necklace, bracelets, anything that may entangle to the power tools, including your dress. So it should be all are fit and not showing any loose. All persons using power tools or portable power tools must be competent. As I discussed already, again, the competence persons to use should have skills, knowledge, his attitude of using the power tools. He has the training, and also he has the that is the word competent. Tools must not be left unattended or adjusted whilst plugged in. So sometimes the workers will go for break. They forget to remove the tools from the sockets and put it in the toolbox properly. This is unacceptable. And may somebody can use it while he was away, and those persons who are not authorized to use such power tools will get an accident. The workpiece. A workpiece must be secured properly in a vise and workbench or other similar device wherever possible, or positioned so as to prevent movement. Okay, when you are cutting something, at least you have the proper workstations, like table stations. So if you are doing the job, okay, okay sir, only this one is only 1 minute, and I'm just doing cutting this. That is the exemption of the workers outside. But I will tell you, the accident is less than 1 minute. So any accident is happening only less than 1 minute. So don't allow any that is enough. I will do it properly all the time. Okay, your workstations should be designed to carry your job safely. Okay, so if you are doing the cutting of the bolts for the ducting materials, you should do it properly in a vise or workbench or other similar device wherever possible. Okay. The environment as well. Electrical tools must not be used in hazardous locations, like for example, confined spaces, unless designed for it, and must be kept dry. So inside of example, the confined space, you cannot use all types of electrical tools. So you need to consult the supplier of your tools if this is suitable to work inside of the confined space, because confined space there is some flammable gases maybe happening inside, and your power tools will create sparks, and it's a big explosion inside of the confined space. Okay, ensure that adjacent work is free from hazards, combustible materials, etc. Lighting is sufficient to ensure safety in use. Okay, if you are using power tools, make sure that you have sufficient lighting. You can see very clear what you are doing, not dark, that you don't know that you are cutting the steel and you are in reality you are cutting your finger. Okay, because you did not see. No? Imagine less second mistake, it will cut your finger, because power tools is very powerful, especially like for example the grinders. If you touch the grinder while it is in operation, there's no chance that if your finger touch it, immediately it will be cut. Okay, and you cannot reverse it back. Okay, so make sure that before you start, you have a sufficient lighting, that our workers, we can see the job properly, so that we can perform our job properly. Access to the work area must be safe. Okay, check with the safety department, or check for me, whether a permit is necessary to work. So we need to get involved the safety department when you, especially whatever is your job, you need to get involved the safety department. Get their advice on how I will do the job here. we know that you are the one master of your job, master of your procedures, but there are some minimum acceptable standards that we need to comply, or legal requirements in every specific type of works. So always consult. It is better to have a brainstorming before we can start the job safely. If you completed your job without accident, that means you are successful. You completed the job, you kill one person, and this is you failed. Okay. So some example of acceptable standards for the, so this is proprietary plug sockets. So this is for outdoor use. Okay. Appropriate PPE. Okay. For grinding. There is also appropriate PPE for welding. Okay. But for grinding, this is appropriate PPE. You have leather gloves. You have the face mask. But make sure, you know, why competency is very important. The attitude. Sometimes the workers, they're doing this grinding, they're removing the PPE. That is the attitude. There's no self-discipline. And then it's too late. They got already accident before they realize that they are not complying in it. They have it, but they're not using it. As supervisor and as engineer, we need to make sure that all our people are using properly the provision, the safety provision that we provided to them. If they're not using it, we can ask him why he is not using it and listen to him. Boss, I cannot work properly. So this is the time you need to analyze if you can change the system, if you can change the procedure, so that your workers is 100% safe. Okay. So guards, you can see the guards here under the power tools on the sample grinder. Guards fitted. So there are symbol for double insulated power tools. So you can see also there. Okay. Unacceptable practice. So you can see here the unacceptable. Outer cable must be grip in plug. So you can see the cable, the external insulation is not fitted inside of the plug. So the secondary insulation is exposed externally, and once someone or one material fall onto it, then it will damage and will get fire or whatever it may happen, or short circuits for that. Okay, makeshift repairs. Someone is doing repair by themselves. It's not acceptable. And one plex equal one plug or sockets only. But here you can see one plug, one cable, one plug equal 3 cables. This is unacceptable practice. Okay, bring proper extension if you need a multi connections, because you have 3 or 4 or 5 power tools. Then bring the distribution boards so that you can use all your power tools at the same time, not doing only the plugs and put so many cables outlet for the plugs. It's not acceptable. Okay guys, we have just finished the power tools. Let us continue for the compressed gas cylinders and accessories. Are you there? I hope that you did not sleep in the safety. I hope you understand what we have discussed here. Any questions so far? Okay, let us continue.
Yes, sir.
This one video I want to show you about the compressed gas cylinders. Okay, how the gas cylinders and safe storage of gas cylinders incident may happen to everyone. No? If you are not managing your compressed gas cylinders, please watch it. Okay, guys, you can see how what is the behavior of the compressed gas cylinders. If you watch some movie of James Bond, he used the gas cylinders to penetrate the wall, you know, because of the pressure installed in it. He used the compressed gas cylinders to penetrate the wall. And this video is very clear that if you are mishandle the gas cylinder, it will give you an accident. Okay, luckily there is no one there on the direction of the cylinders, because you can see the cylinder is made of steel, but the valve on it is only copper, and once it was hit by something or fall to something, it will destroy immediately, and it will create a accident, sudden blast of release of the compressed gas inside. Okay, example, if you are using the LPG, so you are doing some job nearby of this gas cylinder, okay, and you are doing grinding, example, okay, because you are doing the welding of some mechanical connections or brackets, okay, and then your cylinder is unsecured and then falling down, and it's explode, and this explosion, because the sudden release of this gas, and because there is sparks, it will burn you alive. No? Minimum requirements: one rules, legal or contractual requirements shall always take precedence. Okay, so always take precedence. If you think that your minimum acceptable standards is below the legal requirements of the host country that you are working, increase it. So this minimum acceptable standard is only guide, so you can still bring it up to the best practice, okay, so that you are make sure that you eliminate the unsafe condition and unsafe acts that will trigger to the accident in the sites. Higher standards shall be adopted wherever practicable. Okay, so if this is practicable, adopt the higher standard than minimum acceptable standards. Gas cylinders are a convenient way to transport stored gas under pressure. These gases are used mainly on a construction site for the following typical operations, like soldering, okay, like welding, like flame cutting. Okay, so it's very convenient to use this. The main hazards are impact from the blast of a cylinder, explosion or rapid release of the compressed gas, impact from parts of the cylinders or valves that fail, or any flying debris, or like sharp nail. No? When the cylinders explode, it will generate sharp nails or flying debris that can hit you, or the fire that can burn anyone nearby on it. Fire resulting in escape of flammable gases. Okay, so there is a mute. Okay. Okay, continue. Manual handling injuries. Okay, so there is this is some main hazards only. There are so many inherent hazards on the cylinder handlings. This is only the main hazards that you can identify in your risk assessment, and you need to control it all the times. To reduce the risk of a failure, you need to know and act on the following precaution. During transportation, handling and use, transportation of cylinder must be in the purpose-built gas trolley or lifting cage, and all cylinder must be securely by chains. Everybody know what is, if you are MEP, I know you are familiar about the trolley. Okay, I will show later some pictures what is the trolley. No one account must a cylinder. Do we have a student here? A freshman student? No one account must a cylinder be lifted by the valves using web or sling and chain. So no one. You cannot lift by crane or using the web sling. Okay. Never manually spin. You know, you cannot carry it. So what you are what the people doing usually, they are spinning the cylinder to transport it from one place to another place in a short distance. This may fall and trip the cylinders. Imagine when your cylinders fall, it will hit the valve will hit something and it will explode. Okay. Cylinders must never be dragged or rolled. Okay. So you can see here on the first bullet, transportation of the cylinder must be in the purpose-built gas trolley only, okay, or lifting cage, and all cylinders must be secured by a chain. Okay. Gas cylinders must not be raised or lowered on a fork or lift truck. Okay. Gas cylinder must be used in the vertical position. You cannot put your cylinders on laying on the ground. It should be always used in vertical position. Okay. You must check that the cylinder is the correct one for the intended use. It's not older than 15 years and has been pressure tested within at least the last 5 years. So there is requirements that every 5 years your cylinder should be tested. Okay, even you are not using it. All types of compressed gas, like even the scuba tank, also the SCBA tank. All the tank should be tested at least once every 5 years as minimum. You must never smoke near gas cylinders. Correct. Very clear. Storage. Cylinders must be stored out of direct sunlight to prevent potential rupture due to the heat explosion. If there is a extreme heat weather, the gas inside of the cylinders will expand more, okay, and the pressure will increase, and what will happen? It will rupture the cylinder cells. Okay. The storage area must have a level concrete base, and the walls and roof to be constructed of non-combustible materials and must not be in building used for other purposes. The ventilation must be available to keep cylinder cool. Warning signs must be placed in prominent positions to warn others in the vicinity. Okay, so this is the storage. So must be in level concrete base. Okay, must not be in a building used for other purposes. If you are storing the cylinders, you need to build storage intended only for the compressed gas cylinders. And of course, you should have the ventilation so that the temperature is controlled on that location. And as a minimum, the warning signs should be placed and visible, and the signage should have a minimum 3 different languages with photographs on it, so that even workers are not well educated and they don't know how to read, they can understand that this location is restricted areas and they know what is the hazards on that location. Cylinder must always be stored upright and segregated. Example, never store oxygen and acetylene together, and never store empty and full cylinders together. Okay. Remember that oxygen is not flammable, but it will contribute to the combustion. So oxygen fire triangle, you can see the fire triangle: fuel, air, and heat. Okay, so acetylene is the fuel, oxygen is the air, and if you have the heat like sparks, then it will continue to have the fire. So chain reaction of fire will be continued. Cylinder must be secured with strap or chains connected to a wall bracket or other fixed surface. Okay, self-explanatory. Oxygen must be stored at least 3 meters away from other flammable gases such as acetylene and propane. So oxygen, as I told, because oxygen is supplying the combustion, so you need to make it separate storage. Sir, this oxygen is not flammable. You know, it's not flammable. I can put it together. No. Remember that acetylene itself, it will not burn. Okay, but if you have oxygen and acetylene, it will burn. Never store cylinders horizontally, as I told. The storage area for cylinder must be at least 6 meters away from out of building. The storage. So when you are planning to bring, because you have so many massive, you have so many jobs, steel job, then you have plans to bring cylinders, you need to make it proper planning how you will store your cylinders. When you are installing the cylinder, storing the cylinders, so you need to make sure that the area is suitable and safe. There is no underground utilities like the powers, you know, because if there is a earth leakage on that location, it will contribute to heat to your cylinders, and if you have leaks on your cylinders, it will explode. Okay. Fuel hose. Fuel hoses must be inspected for signs and cracks or perishing and removed immediately found. So you can see outside so many hoses. When you bend it, there is already cracks. Okay. Our team, they are waiting for the hole to get it replaced. So that is included in our inspection. So make sure that before, as engineer, you know that the process of your cylinder is good. No, it's not brittle because it's carrying the pressure inside. This inspection must be carried out daily before use. Fuel hoses must not be used if there is no flashback arrestor fitted at the regulator and torch end. Flashback arrestor is the safety device fitted on the regulator of the, example, the welding machines, the compressed gas cylinders, acetylene and oxygen, and on the torch end. No? Regulator must be handled with care to avoid damage to their sensitive springs, diaphragms, and valve seals. Right? Regulator connection must be free of damage, in particular to the thread, as this gives potential for gas leaks and risk of fire and explosion. So example of minimum acceptable standard for transportation. This is the one trolley, some example. So make sure that you have designed trolley to carry your cylinder suitable, sufficient, okay, safe. You have the chains to secure your cylinders. You have trolley so that your lever can bring it to another area safely, not worrying to carrying it properly because it's too heavy for them. Remember, when you are carrying these cylinders, you should not fold it into the valve because the valve is the weakest point of these cylinders. So protective valves guards, you can see on the right photographs. This is some example for the oxygen. Example of minimum acceptable standard for storage of cylinders. Okay, for the storage. So provide a non-combustible build for your temporary storage of the cylinders. Make sure that your cylinders is secured. Okay. So this is some example in the construction. So this is some bad practice unacceptable host condition, as I told a while ago. When you bend the hose, it will show that there is cracks. You don't need to see that this is already cut, so you need to replace it immediately. And make sure that your valve is engaged, is working properly. And on the right, you can see this is the flashback arrestors for the oxygen acetylene cylinders. So for the torch and for the valve. Okay, so two. So we have completed the compressed gas cylinders. Now we will proceed to the ladders and step ladders. Yeah, is there any questions so far? Later on I will answer. So please collect the questions. Minimum requirements for the ladder and step ladder. More onerous legal or contractual requirements shall always take precedence. Higher standards shall be adopted wherever practicable. The use of ladder and access equipment present a number of different risks to the user, and it is important that these risks are managed correctly to reduce the potential for accident and injury. It is therefore of utmost importance that ladder users and operatives are fully aware of how to use and handle access equipment correctly and safely. The three main classifications of ladder is Class 1, Class EN or European 131, and Class 3. This classification indicates that safe working load that a ladder is designed to support. Okay, the table shows that three main ladder classification. Okay, you can see here Class 1. It can the duty rating is 130 kilograms, and the maximum static vertical load is 175 kilograms for application industrial applications. And Class EN 131 115 kilograms, 150 kilograms maximum, and for commercial application, like for example, not usually you are using it, so for commercial purpose only. But for the Class 1 industrial, you are using it regularly, all the times. Class 3, 95 kg duty rating, 1 to 25 kg for domestic, must not be used on site. So this Class 3 must not be used on site, because you remember that we are 91 kilogram force vertical. We assume that the person's weight is 91 kilogram, but if you can assume 100 kilogram the weight of standard persons, it's more better. And how you can if you have only ladder or step ladder 125 kg capacity, and you are bringing some material inside, then you cannot use your ladder. So must not be used for construction site. Okay, Class 3. Ladder minimum requirements. If there is a safer way of doing the job, do not use ladder. Never overreach from the ladder. So if you can provide proper scaffolding platform for your job, don't use the ladder as your working platform, because ladder is only means of access. Supervisor must do a daily pre-user check, looking for any defects, damaged rungs, styles, missing rubber fits, loose fittings. These all safety features, you need to make sure that as supervisor, you are checking before you allow your workers to do it. And if you cannot do it, relay the information to your foreman. But before you give the information to your foreman, make sure that they understand what they are doing, what they are inspecting. Okay, so it's better always they should have a training on how to inspect the ladder and how to identify the damaged and unsafe ladder. Supervisor must check ladders weekly and keep a record. It is always very important that you have record of checking the ladders. This will save yourself as well in the future if something happen. Okay, and also for investigation purpose if something happen, and also for audit for inspections. So you should have this record. And of course, as supervisor, you should know how to inspect the ladder properly. Supervisor must give workers instruction on how to use the ladder safely and make sure they are followed. Okay, you give instruction, but you did not monitor them. So how you make sure that they will not get accident on using the ladder? So you need to make sure that you are supervising them, that they are following with your instruction on how to use the safely the ladder. Okay, because mostly accident is happening in the site due to the unsafe acts, to the behavior, to the attitude of the workers. So you need to control those bad attitudes. Sir, I'm using this ladder 10 years now. You don't need to teach me, okay, guys. But when you observe how he is doing, how he's using the ladder, is very unsafe. So that means he has 10 years working experience in the ladder, but it's not correct experience. As supervisor, you need to check, you need to correct this. Don't trust everything to your labor. Okay. Supervisor must check floor surfaces, area level, firm and clean. So surface is very important of the floor because your ladder may slips and your worker may fall on the ladder. Any ladders in poor condition must be removed from the site and put a tag, unsafe to use. Okay, no one is allowed to repair ladder. It's better remove from the site, remove from service. If you found the ladder is very poor condition, that everything is damaged, it's better put it in the scrap area. Cut it and put in the scraps area. Okay. Avoid electrical hazard because you know the danger on this. If you did not cut, they will maybe another ship will come and they will use it again. So they are in danger. Okay. Avoid electrical hazards. Look for overhead power lines or power cables around you before handling a ladder. Never use a metal ladder near power lines. Okay. Very good conductor is the metal ladder. Step ladder requirements. So we have done ladder. Now there is a step ladder. Do not use a step ladder if there is a safer way of doing the job. Again, the same procedure for the ladder, straight ladder. Supervisor must do a daily pre-user check looking for any defects. Okay, damaged rungs, tiles, missing rubber feet, and loose fixings. Supervisor must check ladder weekly and keep a record for any future use. There must be enough space to fully open the step ladder. Okay, so we are discussing the step ladder fully open. I will show you in the pictures later. The step ladder must be in correct position using any locking device. It is multi-way design. It must be the right configuration for the job you are doing. Always follow the manufacturer's instructions. So when we are buying the ladder, okay, usually there is a manual on how to use the same ladder, because on that manual takes time, give times to read those manuals so that you can check what is the specifications for your ladders. Okay, because maybe your workers misuse your ladder, so it will trigger to the accident. You know? The step ladder must rest on a firm and level base. If you are working outside, place a large flat board on any soft ground to make a suitable base. Okay, so if you are putting your ladder on the soil directly on the ground, make sure that your ground condition is well compacted, dry, and your ladder will not sink. Okay, the floor must be clean and non-slippery. Okay, never overreach or work sideways from a step ladder. So What is this never overreach? You have ladder on this way and you try to reach something because you don't want to transfer your ladder. This is unsafe because when you overreach you are on the top of the ladder and you overreach the ladder to get to reach something away from the top of the ladder, the balance of your ladder you are losing the balance of your ladder and will trigger to the fall from your ladder. Okay, so you can see here what is ladder, straight ladder. So you need to make sure that your ladder is secured from top and to the bottom before you allow someone to use it. Okay, and on the my right step ladder, on the right photograph step ladders. So you need to make sure that this foot of the ladder is fully extended with spreader straight and locked. So this will become stable. So that's why when you are using this ladder, you need to have a good space so that you can fully extend this spreader. And make sure all the steps of your ladder is clear from oils so that it will not slippery. And you make sure that you have anti-slip safety shoes fit for your ladder. There is rubber, there is spikes on that rubber so that it will not slippery in any surface. And you need to make sure that this is working properly. Most of the time it will damage, and some workers, they are removing it. So you need to make sure that there is proper slip resistant safety shoes on the feet of your ladder. Okay, and when you are climbing from the ladder, make sure your workers or yourself maintain the 3 points of contact on the ladder. And when you are installing the straight ladder, the inclination should be 1:4. Okay, 1 meter horizontal and 4 vertical. So it's depend upon the length of the ladder, and at least the ladder extended on the top at least 1 meter from above the roof, the surface, because this will serve as their handle when they are going out and going in side of the ladder. All right. So there is also podium ladder. There are some companies that they are no longer using the step ladders, so they are using the podium ladder. Podium ladder is like step ladders, but there is a platform on the top of it and also edge protection. Plus, there is outrigger or stabilizers on both sides, so that it will not tip over when someone is doing the job on the top. Mostly, these are being used when the building are completed or almost completed, while installing the MEP, the air duct, drilling of the bolts for the brackets. So they are using it because providing the fixed scaffolding is not practicable at this time. But if you can still fix the scaffolding, please consider the scaffolding first rather than use of ladder. But if there is no chance to install the scaffolding because of the current situation, you can use still the podium ladder, straight ladder, and the A-frame ladder. This ladder, if you are complying in how to use it, then if you know how to use it properly, then our workers are safe and you are safe as well. Okay guys, we have just completed the step ladders and ladders. Now we will discuss the firefighting equipment. I will not discuss what is the fire, how we will fight the fire, because as I discussed, this is a minimum acceptable standard that we need to provide in the construction site. Minimum requirements: more one rules legal or contractual requirements shall always take precedence. Higher standards shall be adopted wherever practicable. So if you want to do some, remember this is all temporary provision at site. What we are discussing is temporary provision at site, not a permanent. So even temporary provisions, we need to make sure that we are complying with the local regulations or more above as minimum acceptable standards. We can still make it higher than the local requirements. In doing it, we are making sure that we are complying, because if you are just complying to the legal requirements, a little bit down for your compliance, then you are not complying anymore. So it is always better to aim high than to the minimum. What I mean is least. A comprehensive fire risk assessment must be undertaken for project sites, labor, accommodation, and office fire risk. By the way, guys, all the minimum acceptable standards that we are discussing is developed based on the experience of the industry, construction industry. They develop based on experience and based on legal requirements, as I discussed previously. The fire risk assessment must identify sources of fire and detail adequate control measures, including the provision of firefighting equipment. So when, for example, you are in charge for the logistics, okay? So you are conducting the fire risk assessment. So you need to identify all the sources of your fire and what are the controls that you will implement to avoid the fires. Sources of fires, there's naked fires like open fires, like for example this gas torch fire, flame cutting fire, that is one source of the fires. Also the grindings, sparks, that is also one source of fires. Electrical fires, okay, and some other fires that involve that like overheating of the equipment due to overloading, that is also fire. And there are so many sources of fires. So as in charge persons, we need to make sure during the fire risk assessment, identify all those sources and then provide control measures and make sure that you are implementing and monitoring that control measures. So if you are providing, like for example, you are preparing the method statement, you need to consider as well the fire risk assessment. So it's always required that you identify all the hazards before you start the actual job. Location of the equipment, so you need to identify the fire extinguisher shall be distributed in easily accessible locations, and the maximum travel distance from any point of protected area to the nearest fire extinguisher shall not exceed 15 meters. So when you are installing the fire extinguishers, even temporary or permanent, this is requirements, 15 meters, not exceed 15 meters. Okay? The maximum travel time from any point of the building of the locations shall not exceed 15 meters. Okay? Wherever practicable, hose reels must be installed in uniform position near exits or on staircase landing at floor levels. Hose reel not fitted in recesses must be wall mounted in such a manner that they do not form an obstruction to means and escape routes. Review your as a manager, if you are a project manager, review your emergency response procedures so that you can see what is the time that you will install your temporary firefighting provisions. Okay, but remember, the fire extinguishers should be there before the start of the job. So it should be sufficient, and make sure that you have a 15 meters maximum travel distance for each point of the site. that you can reach the fire extinguishers. Okay, dry risers must be installed at the stairs of each level when the building height exceeds 18 meters. So there is already provision here that when your building exceeds 18 meters, dry risers should be installed and must be equipped with controllable outlets on each level to be used by connecting fire hoses or hose reel. These risers must be equipped with the correct inlet and ground level for water supply by civil defense from outside the buildings. Okay. Wet riser must be installed when the building height exceeds 30 meters. There must be a sufficient pressurized water supply in accordance with its design and competent organization authorized by the Civil Defense Administration. So, dry risers, wet risers. Okay. Automatic sprinkler system must be installed in all basement areas of the buildings, which are to be used during the project as storage areas. Okay, so if you are using your basement as storage areas, you should have it. Automatic sprinkler systems. So that's why when you are bringing materials, like for example your lift car accessories materials, you will bring because the basement is already completed, so you will bring your materials to install your MEP works. Okay, before you bring your material, you need to check that there is automatic sprinkler system. If you don't have it, don't bring it. Okay, so if you want to bring it, it's necessary for your job because you need to start to install your machines. Then you need to identify the place and provide temporary automatic sprinkler systems. Okay, there are so many sprinkler systems, not only like connected into the water. There is also oxygen and dry chemical powder sprinkler system portable that you can install it. Okay, there must be sufficient pressurized water supply in accordance with its design by competent organization authorized by Civil Defense Administration. Temporary offices shall be constructed from fire-resistant materials. All right, so it's not like, for example, the plywood. We cannot make office use of. We cannot make office made of plywood. Should be fire-resistant materials. Like for example, there's the gypsum boards. Okay, so that is one example of the materials that we can use. Okay. Maintenance of equipment. All firefighting equipment must be maintained in good working order at all times. Inspection of equipment. All firefighting equipment is to be visually inspected weekly by the site safety officer. So I have job for this. Visually, I will inspect the fire extinguishers or the designated fire marshal. As engineer, if you are the designated as fire marshals, because we cannot hire in every group one safety officers. There is only ratio. Some here in the UAE, 100 workers per one safety officers, 150 workers per one safety officers. So they cannot see all those times. So fire marshal, we are delegating some fire marshal, but the fire marshal should be trained as per the standards of the local civil defense. All firefighting equipment is to be thoroughly inspected by third-party approved contractor every 6 months, and the inspection tag display on the equipment. Okay, every 6 months. Okay, guys, any questions so far? This is only highlights for the minimum acceptable standards. But I will speak with our professor, Mr. Ryan, Engineer Ryan Ben.
We are listening. There are some questions, but we will. I think we need to answer that.
Okay.
There are a few questions right now coming in our chat box.
Okay. Well, we will entertain the questions now.
Once you're done with your presentation, sir, I think we will have an open forum afterwards.
Yeah. Okay. So we will continue. Suspended access cradles and platforms. Are MEP using it? I think MEP is using it. Okay?
Yes, sir. We're using it.
Yeah, I know. Mostly our topics, MEP is using it. So, okay, let's discuss this. So, get some knowledge about the minimum acceptable standards. Minimum requirements, more onerous legal or contractual requirements shall always take precedence. Higher standards shall be adopted wherever practicable. Before choosing a suspended access cradle or platform or gondola in the Philippines for an activity, you must be certain that it is suitable for each intended purpose. Okay. Before using suspended access, just a minute. I just want to do this. Before using suspended access cradle and platforms, you must make sure that general installations, a safe working load must be clearly marked on the cradle and must not be exceeded. Okay. So safe working load, you should comply on this safe working load. So you need to compute how many persons will use the suspended access cradles. Let's say we will assume 100 kilograms per person. So if you have 2 persons as minimum body system, then you have some materials to install, like for example the pipings, for the MEP. So you need to compute how much load that they will introduce on the access cradles and what is the safe working load of that cradle. In this, you can plan your job and you can sleep well that you are safe. No? So you need to make sure that what is your requirements before you started the job. It has been erected and installed by competent persons. Not all the persons is authorized to install the cradle. Remember, this cradle is temporary platform only, not the BMU or building maintenance unit. BMU is more higher safe working load than the temporary suspended access cradles. Okay, so you need to always to check manufacturer instructions if they installed the suspended cradles properly. An independent lifelines, rope, wire, and rope grabbing device must be installed and the safe working load must not be exceeded. Okay, so you have a suspended cradle and you have also independent lifeline. Okay, it has been inspected and certified by the third party once every 6 months. Okay, the requirements every 6 months because it's carrying people. So minimum requirements is every 6 months. But if you do some modification or you transfer your cradle to another location, even it is only 1 week ago, then you need to invite the third party to inspect and recertify your cradle. Daily pre-use requirements. All safety devices are operating correctly. All control buttons are operating correctly. Okay. There are no visible signs of damage to the cradle and corresponding supports, tracks, runways. The roofs are free from damage and are correctly webbed through the drums and pulley. Okay. Floors and guardrails are rigid and free from defects. Okay. So the cradle as well, there is also guardrails, and also the floor is fully boarded as well. The equipment can only be used when the above items have been checked. So first you need to check all of this before you allow your people to do the job there, to use your cradle. Okay. When using suspended platform, you must ensure that user requirements. The equipment shall only be altered and dismantled by competent persons. Always mention competent persons. No? Every time the equipment is altered, dismantled, relocated, it must be third-party certified. Okay, the safe working load is not exceeded. Again, tools and equipment are secured appropriately. Tool lanyard must be utilized. If you are using the tools like the spanner, it should be equipped with tool lanyards. This is to prevent accidental falling of the tools to below. The occupants of the building are aware that they should not be opening windows while the cradle is in use, and no other works must be carried out above the cradle. Okay, so the occupants, who are the occupants of the building during construction? We are the occupants. But if you are conducting maintenance only, then the building owner should be coordinated about your procedures. I want to person operating the cradle must know the emergency lowering, how to use the emergency lowering device. And if malfunctions occurred, work is stopped immediately and the malfunctions reported to the concerned person. An appropriate rescue from height plan must be in place. When weather condition deteriorated, wind, rain, etc., work is stopped immediately. Access to the area below where cradles are working must be properly barricaded and signposted to prevent entry of authorized personnel. How many hours do we have now? Host? So we almost completed. All persons in the cradle must wear a harness with a lanyard attached to the independent safety line at all times. Okay. The same things on the electrical distribution board. If encounter-weight style cradle support arms are being utilized, then the counterweights plates must be secured, tied with wire to ensure they cannot remove. The counterweights must be secured by installing either jack props between the tops of the counterweights and soffit, or bolting tie support through the counterweights base frames. Okay, I will show you pictures of the counterweight. I-beam type cradle support arms must be bolted on the floor slab with supplier approved fastening system. All bolts must be chemically anchored. Okay, there is a chemical that they are putting on the bolts. Cradle can only be entered exited from the ground floor or purpose built in landing platforms. Okay, so don't try to enter on the cradles on the window. So only authorized as minimum is from the ground floor, or if you have landing platform. Climbing outside the cradle is strictly prohibited. All landing wheels must be attached and intact. So, all cradles are to be fitted with a fit for purpose fire extinguisher. So fire extinguisher as well is there. No storage of flammable materials is there. A high level of housekeeping must be maintained at all times. As I discussed, housekeeping importance. Cradle to be shut down and locked out at the end of the shift at any time that the cradle is not in use, break times, collecting materials, equipment. So always shut down and lock out so that we can avoid unauthorized operation of the cradle. Each cradle to be numbered and relevant certification and operating instructions for the cradle to be posted. So very important, the information. So you need to, if you have 20 cradles in your projects, then you need to put on all number and make sure that all certification, individual certification is available, including the operating instruction. Example. So you can see here in the photographs on the top, this is the counterweights, the black color counterweights. Okay, and this is the body. This is the arm. Okay, this is the wire rope cables carrying the suspended platforms. And on the left side, you can see there is a independent fall arrest system or lifelines. So in case the cradle malfunction and accident happen, the person will still hanging on these lifelines. And of course, as I discussed before, make sure that you have emergency procedure on how to rescue the people from these lifelines. So during the preparation of the method statement risk assessment, you need to identify this. This is the root grab for the lifelines. And signages should be there, your certification, and how to use your cradles, and make sure that all the people or the operator who are using the cradles should be trained and certified with experience, competent. No? Okay, guys, we have completed the cradle. Abrasive wheels tools. We will proceed to the abrasive wheels tools, including safeties, cutting, and angle grinding. Minimum requirements: abrasive wheels tools, including angle grinders, and these cutters can use major injuries and fire hazard if they are used in a safe manner. Often the main cause for injury and the fire is lack of training and experience when operating. Okay, to reduce the risk, instruction and training in operation of this cutter and angle grinders. No person is allowed to operate these cutters or grinder unless they have underground training and instruction in both restart, inspection, and safe operation from a competent person. Example, person holding recognized certification to train in the safe operation of abrasive wheels. Okay, and the operator must be listed in the following workplace training register as having successfully passed a competency assessment to operate abrasive wheels tools. Restart inspection, the operator must check the disc guard in a place secure and is free from damage. Disc guards means the machine guards. The power cable, industrial plug, and electrical connection must be free from breaks and exposed wires. Okay. The outer casing of the tools must be free from cracks. All securing screws must be in place and not loose. Okay. Not allowed to secure by wires. All handles and grip must be intact, fitted, and not loose. The tools must have an easily accessible and efficient starting stopping device. Okay, so at least there is emergency stopping device now. Now it's required in the market. Now they are providing all the tools with a stopping device. The disc must be secured with the correct flange and locking nut for the cutter and grinder. The RPM rating, the RPM rating of the disc must be higher than the RPM rating for the cutter grinders. Revolution per minute. Okay, so it should be rating of the disc always higher than the RPM of the grinder, the machine. Because if the disc is the lower, having lower RPM, then it will burst when the machine's running. The correct types of disc for the work to be undertaken must be used. The disc with expired shelf life must not be used. When you are checking the disc, there is a expiry date on that. Maybe we are thinking that why there is expiry date. Remember that the disc is bonded by chemical as well. So chemical, there is expiry date as well. Okay, so we need to check if the disc is expired, and if there is no expiry date engraved on the disc, don't use it. That means this is substandard. Discs that have visible signs of damage or have come in contact with water or any other fluid must not be used. Okay, because it's weakening the properties of the disc. No? If any damage is observed, the grinder cutter must not be used and returned to the store. To the stores where it must be tagged with the following danger code to do not use. Okay. When cutting the metal, the grinding metal, a hot works permit must be issued, and all safety precautions on the permit must be in place, including warning signage and entry protection barriers. All work areas must be free from slips and trips hazards and adequately ventilated. Handling and use. You must use the right tool for the right job, of course. That's why proper planning is very important. You must not use a grinding disc for cutting or cutting disc for grinding. Very important. When discs are worn and performance is affected due to the reduced disc diameter, it must be discarded. The discarded disc must not be used in a smaller grinder or cutter. Okay. Why we need to? We don't need to use the discarded disc? Because maybe there is a different RPM, as I told. Remember, so we need to check. But it's not authorized to use that. You must not use excessive force when cutting, as this reduces the service life of the tools and may cause the disc to shatter. Two hands must always be used when using a grinder cutting tools, but do not cover any air bend. Okay, there is air bend on the cutting disc to maintain the temperature of the machine. When using a disc cutting tools, you must always operate with safety guard between your body and the disc, and with the disc rotating away from you. So this is the machine guards as well. So the machine guards, you should always behind of the machine guards. Don't expose your body on the rotating disc. The disc must only be replaced by people who have received specific training in the disc replacement. Usually, we are not giving spanner to the labor because they don't know how to fix it. So when they receive the tools from the store, there are competent persons who are fixing the disc so that they make sure that the disc is properly fixed on the grinder. The correct tools must always be used for fitting the disc. Electrical power supply to the tools must be disconnected before removing and fixing the disc. Okay, this is to avoid accidental running of the power tools. So it's always better remove the power, remove the hazards. This must be fitted so that the rotation arrow turns in the same direction as the tool spindle. Appropriate eye face protection must be used. Gloves must always be worn to protect from flying particles and spark unless there is foreseeable risk of entanglement. Okay, you can remove also your gloves if there is a risk of entanglement. Okay, earplugs must be worn to bring noise exposure down to an acceptable level. Okay, when we are using the earplugs, it's not one time you will lose your hearing. But if you are doing the job 10 years on noisy environment, you are losing your hearing gradually because it will destroy the hair follicles inside of your ears. So when you are exposed to the noisy environment, make sure that your ear is protected from noise. Okay, a face mask must be worn to prevent inhalation of fumes and particulate. So there are so many types of masks that you can use. You need to check what is your job, appropriate mask to be used. Okay, this is in addition to the standard requirements for PPE, helmet, vest, and safety shoes as minimum. Okay, so please start check. You can see here when cutting or grinding metal, a hot work permit required, so you should have the hot works. Outer casing is free, so outer casing, this is the outer casing. So I know MEP, they are familiar on this because MEP did this power tools. Okay, this is the handle, the machine guard here. So when you are handling the power tools, it is facing to you, so you are protected. The screwing type should be tightened. Do not cover the air bend. Okay. This selection and fitting. So you can see your power tools. There is an example here in the photograph. 10,000 10,000 revolution per minute. Okay, so you need to use this more than 10,000. Okay, so like for example here on the side 8,000 RPM, so you cannot use it on the 10,000. 13,300 RPM you can use on the 10,000. So this RPM should be always higher than the machine RPM. That is our code. No? Only use the correct tools for fitting the disc, so you can fit it properly. If the disc is marked with the rotation arrow, always match it to the arrow embossed on the power tools. So there is power tools arrow, so the disc arrow as well, so you should match it. Okay. Expiry date, as I told, you need to check. Handling and use. So this is how you use the power tools. Always use the correct grip, rotation of the disc. Sparks produced are thrown away from your body. Okay. In this position of the photographs, the guard must be kept between the operator and the disc. Because even okay, this is made of in the highly manufactured company, but there are always 0.0009 unsafe. So there is no 100% safe. So always follow the safe procedures. Okay, guys. So we have done the abrasive wheels. Let us continue. We are running out of time. Hotworks. Minimum requirements. This mask is aimed to control the workplace hazards and protect employees and the environment. Hotworks is any activity which involves naked flame, welding, brazing, flame cutting, the use of glow lamps, or any other process or equipment which produces sparks, cutting, or grinding is called hotworks. General requirements. Permit must only be used in advance for a specific job for a specific time frame to a specific person. Okay, it's not 24 hours your permit, so they will mention only the time frame that you will do the job. The time period must be for one working shift, but must never exceed 24 hours. The supervisor is to brief the work team on the permit requirements before starting work. A prior inspection must be conducted by the person undertaking the hotworks before work starts to ensure that all controls are in place. Okay, so fire inspection, you need to check the floor opening, combustible materials around you before you start. Fire watch personnel must be present at hotwork location, trained to use firefighting equipment, and must be aware of how to report emergencies and the site's emergency evacuation procedures. So when you are doing hotworks, not only one person, you should have one fire watchman, and he is trained for firefighting, and he know where to report in case of emergency. Permit are to be signed off only when the work has finished after 60 minutes. So there are fire that very slow to become visible. So that's why when you completed the job, you cannot just leave the place. You need to wait for 60 minutes or 1 hour and watch your area before you can leave that place and close your permit. Because the fire is, as I told, very slow to, especially if the fire is because of the treated materials. So very slow it will go, but still there is fire. How hot work area?
Sir, excuse me, sir.
Hmm.
How long will it take for you, sir, to for your presentation before our open forum?
I think.
How much more time do you need, sir, for the open forum?
Okay, wait a minute. I will just want to check. We have so many more. If you want, I will cut this presentation up to mobile scaffold only. No?
Yeah, we can start wrapping up, sir, for the open forum.
Yeah,
If
okay.
it's possible for you to summarize some of the presentations. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, all right. So hot work area. So hot work area, loose combustible materials should be removed, and non-movable combustible materials must be covered with fire blanket. Like for example, you bring in your site the right good materials like machines with cover with combustible materials like timbers, so that you cannot move easily. So you need to provide a fire blanket or cover it. Suitable fire extinguisher must be on hand. Gas cylinder must be secured in the vertical, as I discussed a while ago. Gas cylinder must be fitted with the plastic back arrestor regulator. Other personnel who may be affected by the work must vacate the work area. Okay, now, if they are not involved on the job, they should leave that place. Suitably, I already discussed it. Use a spark box and keep cutting in high-risk areas. So this is a spark box is like enclosed areas that you can contain your sparks. The opposite side of the wall shall also be checked and combustible moved away. Okay? Hot work permit must be displayed at the work area, and welding screen and warning signs to be erected when hot work is being carried out in high traffic congested area. Example of hot works: grinding, cutting, okay, waterproofing, cutting again, grinding. Okay. I think hello, sir. Sir Ryan.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I think we will cut our if we have a chance in the future again, then we will continue from because
Yes,
we
we have.
I cannot cut the minimum acceptable standards. That's why I put all of this here so that everybody can understand. Because mostly of this minimum acceptable standard is MEP. So that's why I prepared to complete this. It's all right. So
Okay, sir.
for the moment, let us stop here. So
Yes, we have a few questions here, sir. Actually,
okay.
coming from our PP Francis, past president PP Francis Uy, is asking, how about PAT testing? Are these records supposed to be checked by safety officer and monitored by contractors?
PAT testing should be checked by the electrical engineers. Safety officers is not the one doing it, but the safety officer is to monitor this if they are doing it. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay. So another question, sir, coming from me. What are the metrics used to measure safety performance in job site or project or a project?
Actually, we have an audit system now.
Okay.
If you are conducting audit, you have a grading system there if you are complying or not complying. Okay, but in the safety, even example, the high mark is 5 and you get 3. So that means still there is areas for improvement. And in the health and safety, because we are protecting the life, no, and the projects, we need to make it at least to the maximum score. Okay, so we are doing this metrics during the audit. We are conducting audit by third party, and also you can also do the audit by yourself, self audit.
Okay, sir. Another question from Engineer Reynante. Is there any instances that the industry safety best practices have priced in order to comply with the legal? I think it has to be compromised in order to comply with legal requirements in any market. Please explain why.
Actually, if we said, as I said on the beginning of my presentation, okay, as I said, the best practice is the higher of them all. Legal requirements is only the least compliance that you are implementing your project, but you are not violating the standards. And our minimum acceptable standard is between the legal requirements up to the best practice. Okay, so if you are consultants, the mentality of the consultant, I will mention to you, is they are aiming always the best practice. Because when you are aiming the highest, even you are a little bit go down, at least you are still in compliance with the legal requirements. Am I answered the questions?
I think, sir, yes.
Okay.
Maybe Engineer Ray can, maybe Engineer Ray can have some word on that one. Engineer Ray?
All right. Engineer Ray.
Okay, he said that's fine. Another question coming again from Engineer Francis. There are some rules that states that oxyacetylene cylinder trolley is not allowed to be stored together. Is it being followed in the construction?
Yeah. It is being followed. The trolley is only when it is attended, no? That means you are using it. But after the works, together and bring it into the proper storage, right? So as engineers, we should understand and we should comply on it, because as I explained what is the danger on this. Okay, I already explained what is the danger of not complying on the proper storage of the cylinders. Okay, example, you have job using the trolley, okay, for a specific day, and you haven't completed your job, you go for break time. It's not necessary to bring back to the storage area. Okay, but if you completed the shift, you need to bring back all those cylinders onto the proper storage area. It is happening, and as safety, we need your cooperation regarding this matter. Right.
Okay, sir. Another question. How to increase culture of safety in the workplace? Is there a cost associated with it?
Yes, of course. When you move, there are always costs associated. Okay. Like for example, you have a zero culture, safety culture in the workplace. So how you will cascade the safety requirements. So of course you need to hire safety officers, because they are the one to monitor your site, to advise the engineers. Okay, so when you hire new safety officers, then this is additional cost. Right? So when you are doing training to improve the knowledge of the workers, this is additional cost to the projects. So when you move, there is additional cost already. But from the very beginning, we need to make sure that all these associated costs should be included in our program. All right.
Okay. There is a question here coming from Engineer Ramir. Engineer Ramir, can you unmute yourself and deliver your question directly to our speaker?
Hello,
Good
Engineer
afternoon,
Ramir.
sir. Question lang. Yung mga topic is they highlight majority of the occupational safety.
Yeah.
Work, diba? So with regards to occupational health naman po, yung regards to well-being ng mga workers such as yung fatigue, mga utilities, is this equally tackled at site?
Yeah. Because that's why we call it occupational health and safety. That means any instances or any situation that may affect the health of the workers, we need to control it from the very beginning. That's why we are educating them how to properly hygiene themselves. And of course, you are giving instruction. Like for example, you are giving instruction, I need all people washing their hands before eating. But you are not providing water. So how we can implement those? So as a project manager or director, all of these should be provided in order to make sure that our workers is complying it. Okay, because if don't you give instruction, don't pass on this way. Okay, don't pass on this way, don't walk on this way, but you are not providing access, so where they will go. So first you need to prepare the area to make it safe for your workers and bring so that they have a place, they have things to use, they have a place to rest, they have time to rest, and they have area to have their meals, and they have facilities to maintain their hygiene. Right?
Yes, sir. Very clear.
Thank you.
Okay, I would like to call on Engineer Richard Galas to ask the question directly to our speaker. Sir.
Okay.
Engineer Richard Galas.
Hello sir, good morning, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
Sir, may concern lang ako regarding sa yung during this time, this pandemic, sir. Yung minimum distance requirement. Kasi sa more nakikita ko kasi sa side din ako nag-work. More on office yung mga mayroon tayong social distancing.
Yeah.
Tapos yun nga, yung regarding sa distance. Sir, pero sa side, sir, mostly sir, hindi na-observe yung precautions na yun So, safety practitioner, sir, as mga responsibility natin yun sa site. So, sir, what is the control measures na pwede nating magawa pa, sir, sa site, sir?
As I discussed previously, we need to give proper education for our workers. Why we are doing it? Because when the workers saw blood, they know this is scary. But when they saw COVID, they cannot see the COVID, so they are not scared. So we need to educate them how dangerous this COVID is, and then not only to educate them, we need to monitor them that they are complying all the times when they are in the site, even in the camp. Even in the camp, we need to monitor them what they are complying with the COVID prevention. Like for example, during as I discussed previously, during the management for management action. Okay, previously before the COVID, we have a full force at site, day and night shift, full force. Example, you have 3,500 workers. So during lunchtime, you can see that they are sitting together, maybe almost zero gap between each other. No? But as management, what you did, you need to make staggered duty to reduce the number of manpowers for us to easy to control them during those times. Okay, so not only for the safety, we as a team, all staffs of the construction site should monitor and give instruction whenever they spotted that our workers are not complying with the social distancing, with a social gathering, something like that. So we need to make sure all of those. So I can say that safety is everybody's concerns. Okay, so not only the safety, the engineers, the foreman, we give them in the education, and those including the workers and those foremans or those supervisors, they are also monitoring their workers, and it is better also every morning discuss with them, even they know it. As I told before, the start of the training, subliminal indoctrination. No, when they always hear something, something is embed in their minds. Okay, and I think this time actually, when this COVID attacked us, no, in the very beginning, it's very difficult to control the workers. It's very difficult to educate them because they don't believe, no. But later on, like this time, everybody knows how this COVID is dangerous. Okay, thank you.
I hope that one answers Engineer Richard.
Sir Ryan, Francis here. Just
Yes, sir. Actually, sir, yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Sir Gilbert, in addition, Francis po, in addition with the question of Sir Richard, I have to top up question from that. First, is there any disciplinary action that has happened in the construction industry? Kasi awareness, araw-araw naman yan, toolbox talk, awareness, controls, ginagawa nyo. But was there any like a disciplinary action that you as safety officers or them that you have imposed or implied in the site? Sample, ano po yung sample na? Then my second question, sagat ko na sir. My second question is if in any case that there will be a positive case, okay, sa isang site, kasi sa amin may mga nagiging cases. Sa inyo ba sa construction ba is how do you control them or how do you monitor this close contact? 14 days ba sila? 10 days ba silang hindi nagtatrabaho?
For the first questions, are you asking about the COVID violations?
Yes. COVID. Okay. I'm talking about the pandemic only at the moment.
Yeah. Actually, there is case that we issue violations, but we cannot issue a violation all the times because it takes time, the workers, because in order to issue violation, we need to make sure that the workers understand very well what is this COVID and what is the prevention that you implemented. Okay, because you just cannot issue violation if they don't have fully understanding about this COVID pandemics. Okay, so I think this time haven't issued violation regarding COVID. Okay, I just tell them that I can issue violation, but I'm not issuing violation regarding the COVID. Okay, for the second questions regarding this, what is your second questions, Matt? I forgot. Hello, sir.
Regarding close contact.
Yeah, close contact. Okay, there are cases.
Any positive?
Okay. There are cases that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello.
There are cases that we. Sorry.
Hello.
Yes. There are cases that we have workers, okay, that we found that they are positive on the COVID. So what we did, we have one separate department to monitor only for those cases. Okay, so we always follow the instruction from the government because you cannot disclose to someone who is positive, who is not positive. But on these regards, we advise them to stay on the camp and together in one location in the camp. Okay, when we found someone is positive, and all those close contact to him also is giving instruction to quarantine themselves, isolate themselves in the camp, and 14 days. So immediately they are required to do the PCR test, and then after 1 week again PCR test until 14 days. If they are negative, then they will present the negative results. Then they can go back to work. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Sir, we have a question from Engineer Jonard. What is the minimum standard for fire extinguishers in car park, and what type of extinguisher?
Car park, that means temporary or permanent car parking.
Di ko sir, Engineer Jonard, can you elaborate more on your question, please?
Actually, to answer that questions, the most fire extinguishers that example we don't have yet the sprinkler system, no, because the construction is the building is under construction. So the minimum is, as I discussed before, we need to provide the portable fire extinguishers like a dry chemical powder, no? But not only the dry chemical powder, at least 2 types of fire extinguishers in that locations: the CO2, the carbon dioxide, plus the dry chemical powder. Okay, and the distance, as I discussed, is at least 15 meters maximum travel from any point in the area. So if you have a floor area that is 30 by 30, so at least you distribute that in every 15 meters.
Hello, sir. This is Jonard. How about the permanent car park for almost, let's say, 4,000 cars?
Acknowledge. Maybe I can answer Engineer Jonard's queries.
All right, okay.
Arnel here. So, Engineer Jonard, yung question mo ba is during construction or permanent? So,
permanent, sir. Permanent.
So, ang discussion kasi dito is non-relevant to permanent construction. But to answer your question, civil defense, regardless if you're in Abu Dhabi or Dubai, there is a requirement for a temporary construction, or during construction there is a temporary firefighting requirements. So depende sa height ng building mo, it's either meron kang wet or dry type sprinkler, not sprinkler, fire hose cabinets or hose reels. So by default, yung fire extinguisher is by default is kailangan yan. But in addition to that, so kailangan mo rin ng fire hose reels in the building to be protected during construction. So yun namang permanent. So balik ka doon sa requirement ng UAE Fire Code and NFPA. So nandun lahat yung hindi parang, sorry to discuss na hindi cover ng safety yung buong design requirements ng firefighting during construction. So yung minimum requirements, yung tama yung sabi ni Sir, yung minimum requirements ang kailangan. Pero yung totality ng requirements during temporary at saka permanent is nasa UAE Fire Code.
Okay, sir. Okay, noted.
Thank you.
Engineer Gilbert, Richard, I just want to add the answers of VP Arnel, if it is okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Actually, yung sinabi nga ni Sir Arnel sa DCD standard, no, meron akong kopya rito. As per the DCD standard, no, ang minimum fire extinguisher sa Class B fires, parking areas. So kailangan natin ng wheel type foam, 50 liters or equivalent to 30 gallon. And multi-purpose dry powder, yung sinabi kanina ni Engineer Gilbert, which is yung dry powder at saka yung carbon. So yung category is 2-A, 2-B, and C. So as per the DCD ito.
Yeah.
So yun lang, Sir Gilbert. Thank you.
Yeah, that is good, because that is when the building is in operations. So as I discussed here is during construction, and actually as a safety professional, we are not permitting to park any vehicle in the construction site. So we are allocating a parking area away from the project sites. So that's why our provision of firefighting equipment is for construction purpose only. All right. Okay, sir.
Thank you for that one, Engineer Gilbert. Meron ditong inquiry si Engineer Ariel kung pwede daw ma-share yung mga slides mo sa kanya.
Pwede ko yan.
Pwede. Sige sir. I-share natin yan.
Kasi actually marami nga itong prepare ko na slides eh. Kung papalarin tayo uli sa ano, di invite ulit tayo.
Yes, sir.
Wala naman sa akin problema kahit na kasi gusto ko rin talagang alam mo, ayoko rin yung kagaya ng maraming mga Filipino engineers na lalo na yung mga baguhan na wala pa talagang experience, eh medyo nadidisgrasya sa site. Hindi lang sila, pati yung labor nila. Eh alam mo na dito sa Middle East, kapag under you, kasama ka na. Tanggal ka rin. Di ba?
Tama.
Meron kasing
Tama yun, tama.
kaya excavation works para sa pipeline. Okay? So one project engineer terminated, tapos nagbayad pa siya ng 200,000 dirham. Imagine, dahil lang sa simpleng alam mo, hindi mo pwedeng sabihin na kasalanan ng labor kasi pumunta siya. Hindi talaga ino-honor ng batas yun. Ikaw talaga ang may sala. Kaya very important na malaman natin yung minimum acceptable standards. And so of course, i-apply natin kung review natin yung work area natin, nagko-comply ba ako? Kung hindi ka nagko-comply, that's the time to make action so that we can prevent accident. And if you are doing action, you are making safe your workers, at the same time yourself actually. All right?
Okay. Nawala na pong there's no other question participants for this webinar. Kung wala na, thank you so much, Engineer Gilbert. We have something for you, a small token from us.
So Brian, Ben, at invite mo ako sa inyong organization. Actually, this is my first choice course and I graduated my high school. Unfortunately,
Welcome, sir. Welcome.
The construction, so I choose civil.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, to award the certificate, a minute. This certificate of appreciation is hereby awarded to Engineer Gilbert Reyes, MSc, in grateful acknowledgement of his expertise, professional competence, and invaluable service rendered as the technical speaker during the webinar entitled Occupational Health and Safety, Minimum Acceptable Standards, given this 19th of February 2021, signed by me, Director of Professional Enhancement, by Engineer Gideon Gusilatar, VP External, and our President, Engineer Richard Lipa. Sir, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for the knowledge that you have imparted to us. Our PSME is very much thankful for this opportunity that you are here with us as part of our interdisciplinary focus on bringing knowledge and more allied expertise to our members. Sir, thank you again for your time.
Welcome po. Maraming
Thank you,
salamat
sir,
din.
Gilbert.